Hello everybody, and just here and welcome, not back, just welcome to Mobile Suit Gundam, the witch from Mercury. Indeed, I'm watching Gundam, first time in my life. Now I know this Gundam series came out much earlier. I think this week we already got episode 1, like 3-4 days ago, something thereabouts. Right now I'm gonna be watching episode 0, which is the prologue or prequel. I think it's a prologue. And I'm gonna try to catch up to it. If not, then I'm gonna be releasing them with a week of a delay, but I don't think that's going to be the case. In any case, yeah, episode 0, the prequel, and pretty much the start of my experience with the Gundam franchise. I have not seen any Gundam whatsoever. I'm vaguely familiar of the franchise, of the IP. I have seen some like clips of combat, maybe here and there, but nothing much more than that. I do know mecha shows, sure, I'm familiar with the mecha genre, but then again, I haven't seen particularly many mecha anime either. I have seen Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, because who hasn't seen that one? Although I kinda stopped watching it after the time skip. I don't know, I just did. I saw Aldunoa Zero. Aldunoa Zero I have seen the entirety of. And I have seen, like, I think the first episode of Heavy Object. And Daimidaler. I have seen the entirety of Daimidaler, and that is also a mecha show. So I guess I have seen a couple of them. Besides that, my experience with mecha is playing the Sunrider light novel and Sunrider Academy. And I guess cancel. My Google Assistant just asked me if I want to play Spotify or Tidal. Neither, please. Okay. That got me sidetracked. I have seen a single episode of Heavy Object. That's one more thing that I have seen. I played Sunrider, as I mentioned, and I think there might have been like one other mecha anime that I have a vague recollection of, but I can't remember the title or what it was about. Darling in the Franxx, I have also seen like the first half of it. When it started getting super heavy on teenage drama, I really kind of dropped it. I love the premise of it, but not necessarily the execution. I think it was a joint project between Trigger and Cloverworks, I want to say, but I'm not entirely sure. And I have a sneaking suspicion that it was the Cloverworks part who wanted to add some teen drama. Didn't seem like a Trigger show from a certain point on. But as far as Gundam, the most known mecha franchise goes, I know nothing of it. I did want to get into the franchise eventually, but I always found it very hard, or rather very scary to try to get into. In the same way Bleach or One Piece are hard to get into. You have years, decades even, in case of Gundam, of shows. The original show, some like 15 different remakes, 17 different seasons, 88 movies, and all sorts of content based around Gundam. And where do I start? Do I start with the original series from like 1971 or however, whatever was the year of its release, very much long ago? Do I start from some remake? Do I start from some standalone series? Do I start from a spin-off about cooking? What do I start with, right? There's that feeling of being overwhelmed. This series, from what I know, The Witch of Mercury, is standalone. It's essentially set in an alternate universe. So there are Gundams, the technology and all that stuff is there, but the story doesn't connect to any other Gundam series in the franchise. So I thought, hey, might be a good starting point. Another thing that was a deterrent for me in Gundam shows, it's probably not all of them, but I saw a fair bit of CG robots smacking one another, and I don't find it appealing in the slightest. When it's hand drawn, or digitally drawn, or whatever, when it is 2D, it can look cool, but all of the CG combat from Gundam I saw was essentially just robots going and that was the extent of it. So, not particularly appealing to me. That's also one of the reasons why I can't really get into idol shows, because I know that I'm gonna have to hold back my puke whenever I see a scene of a concert in full CG. I'd rather not. But I heard that in this series, so far, everything has been 2D, everything has been drawn, so I have high hopes for it. And also, one more thing that interested me in this particular series is that I heard voices that it's apparently Yuri. Yuri shows are fairly hard to come by, um, especially ones that aren't just subtext. Even if you even can call it subtext, ones that aren't just Yuri bait, ones that are like good and proper Yuri shows. I can't really recall many that would be like proper and open about it. I guess maybe Executioner and Her Way of Life would count. Princess Principal from recent memory, but nothing else that would be super explicit. I have hopes that maybe this one is going to change that. From what I hear, the stories in Gundam are always very mature, and they don't stray away from same-sex relationships. So I'm gonna be interested in how they tackle that. Also, I heard another interesting thing about this series, that apparently it mirrors Utena. That it's like Utena but mecha, and I do intend to watch Utena one day. I know that Utena is maybe not a prequel, but like a spiritual predecessor to Review Starlight, and I have seen Review Starlight. I loved Review Starlight. So maybe it's gonna end up with me seeing everything that stemmed from Utena, everything that mirrors Utena, and then only at the end, after I'm done with all of that, I'm gonna watch actual Utena. That's certainly going to be an interesting experience. The same way how I have plans to watch Scrapped Princess, and I heard what was the show called? The one with Chaika. The one with Chaika. That's how I'm gonna refer to it. It's like the exact same show, but kind of made later. So I'm gonna be interested in seeing Scrapped Princess at some point as well. And people really like Utena, so if this show mirrors Utena, then chances are it's actually going to be a good show. I don't know. As I said, I know basically nothing about it. I haven't seen. Have I seen the trailer? I don't think I have, actually. I haven't looked into the studio, I haven't looked into the staff. I'm just gonna be jumping into it completely and utterly blind with zero knowledge of Gundam whatsoever. If I like it, I might watch more Gundam. I know that I usually have a rule of watching everything in the franchise. Right, once I started watching Symphogear, I'm watching the main shows, the OVAs, the concerts. Same goes for Madoka. I'm gonna be watching the movies, the spin-offs, and everything else. I don't think that's quite feasible with Gundam, so I'm gonna say we'll see. But I've already been talking for almost 9 minutes, so I think we should stop talking and start watching. You're gonna need your subs to sync up your own copy. If you're new to the channel, that's how my reactions are. You're gonna need your own copy, maybe, I don't know, minify my screen, maybe minimize your own, the window of your player with the anime and put it uh, somewhere in this space that's left free estate for you to place your video on. I don't know, maybe you have two monitors like me and you can watch both videos in parallel. But yeah, the timer is gonna start, and we are going to start watching the show. Besides subs, I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on, and I'm gonna have to ask you for your support on Patreon. Throw it monetarily if you want. If you don't want to spend any money, share my content, spread the word. It really helps. It really helps the channel grow a lot. And also, this series was picked during a live stream I held yesterday, so there's a VOD available if you want to see other series I'm going to be reacting to. If you want to hear more opinions about Gundam and other series, do check it out. And with all of that out of the way, we can start watching Gundam. What's the full title? Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury, Episode 0, the prequel, the prologue. The prologue would be the more apt to name it. And we're gonna start it in 3, 2, 1, go. Sunrise. First time I see this logo. First thing that comes to mind is Sun Microsystems, but I don't think Sun Microsystems has anything to do with Gundam. Also, I'm using the subs please version, if you weren't sure of the subs. I wish I knew what they were talking about. What are the layers? What's the callback? Is she like trying to sync up with the Gundam? And the layers are like subsystems of the Gundam? Let me guess. She is unable to pilot some experimental Gundam, and our main character is going to be able to pilot it without an issue? Oh, we're in space. Watch the protagonist arrive. Oh. That's a cute kid. With a bunny backpack. Also, holy shit. We're not putting teenagers in mecha? An adult woman piloting a mecha? Am I really watching an anime? Or is she a teen mom? That would be the only explanation. Okay, seeing how it's a prequel. Not a prequel, I'm gonna be mistaking that all the time. Is the kid gonna grow up to be the pilot of this mecha? It's Eddie gonna be the pilot. That's an asteroid base. Cool. Prologue. Prologue, prologue, prologue. Not a prequel. Prologue. Okay, cybernetics. essentially really big cybernetics. Those are circuits on their faces. That's the father? That's the father. Whose birthday is that? Oh, the kids? Spoiler alert, they probably will not. Of course. Yeah. It will be too late because. Why? Will the Hammer of Witches. Are the Earth people afraid of. Uh... Oh, it's a cybernetic. Are the people of Earth afraid of the people from Mercury or other planets rebelling against them or something like that? Okay. Back to work. Or is it about keeping monopoly on Gundam? They can't allow this other company to figure out how to make them properly. They don't have a monopoly. Explosives? Spatians? People who just live in space? On ships? Migrants, essentially? Like a migrant fleet? She wants to see her father. No! Is she gonna get inside and activate it? Oh, hello, Gram Gram. Of course it is. Oh, so she is being raised for a Gundam pilot. And this Gundam is special because it's more adaptable. Or something along those lines. Lfrith. Does the Gundam have some form of artificial intelligence? Perhaps don't leave a child unsupervised inside of a motherfucking combat robot? Something tells me it might be a bad idea. Which means no responsibility at all. Because he's some high up politician or whatever. Why though? It probably has military on board. And they're gonna kill everybody. Of course. Funny you're talking ethics. Ah, of course, forever striving for power and doing anything for it. No one's here. The kid is with the Gundam, but what about the mother? Smoke? Oh. Arm. Something different from Gundam? Okay, so I'm assuming those are just mass-produced Gundam they got their hands on precisely for situations like this to help protect the base. Okay, so they have arms, and the purple ones are Gundams? Is that what it is? I don't know. Okay, the connection to the Gundam takes its toll. Physical, and the mental probably as well. That's like a special Gundam, probably. Not a mass-produced one, but customized in some way. Okay, so that's the issue. That's the crux of the issue. Gotcha. Weapons should be killing the thing on the other end of the barrel, not on the end of the stock. I mean, he's not entirely wrong. It's kind of like the reasoning of we really should go back to fighting with melee weapons, not sniping people from 17 kilometers away. Yeah. That's why you need cybernetics, true. Okay, so it's like kinda sorta the conflict between human purists and transhumanists. Kinda. Mother-daughter combo. Layer 33, I'm assuming. Thanks to the daughter. Yep. So I'm assuming the brunt of the damage will go towards the child. Or there's gonna be no damage because this Gundam is special. Okay, there is some. But it's blue, not red. Okay, she's learning to count and killing people while doing that. Gotta teach your kids early. Yeah, very pretty. However, L plus ratio. Her arm is off and plugged into the Gundam. Yeah, I mean, you probably should run. There's more coming. Self-destruction? Or just gonna slam him into the asteroid? Or he's gonna die before anything can happen. And he's dead. Explosion. At the climax of the song. I don't know how standalone this prologue is exactly. Is it just to set up the conflict? Or are we going to continue right from where we left off? I have a feeling we're gonna go for a time skip, and Eri is going to be already a Gundam pilot, or perhaps she's gonna be in training for a Gundam pilot. Perhaps a pilot of the Gundam they used here. Probably she's kind of like bound to it, or whatever you call it. Interesting. Also interesting that there is no external threat, from what I can see. Many mecha shows are fighting against an external threat, right? We need the mecha to fight huge aliens or to fight kaiju or whatever. This time it seems humans versus humans. Except Earth humans versus space humans. I'm assuming there's like Earth superiority, feelings of Earth superiority. We live in the cradle of humanity and thus we are superior. And they don't understand the struggle of people living in space who have to deal with all sorts of different amounts of gravity, all sorts of, I don't know, radiation and stuff. That's a good setup for a conflict, for sure. Lady Grady, by the by. Twinings, Lady Grey. Okay, as we usually do, let's go through it again. Shall we? Sunrise. Starting permit link. Not permanent link, permit link. Layer 31, layer 32, but layer 33 doesn't respond for whatever reason. Begin analysis of permit influx values. If you can't clear this, no one can, except her daughter. Whose markings on the face, that's significant, weren't red, they were blue. Different from everybody else. We need to prove the soundness of the Gund format. Whatever Gund is. I'm assuming Gund is in general the technology, perhaps an abbreviation of something, and it's the technology behind being able to control machinery with your mind. Be it cybernetic prosthetics, be it entire Gundams, but controlling technology with the mind. What did I just do? Nothing of significance. Okay. And apparently the council wants to shut down this. Okay, I think I get where they're going with it. The council wants to shut down the Gund project, the Gund program, because of the backlash. Because they are testing this technology on people, and people are dying due to some force feedback or whatever it is, and people don't like that fact. Because it's essentially human experimentation, which is morally dubious at best. And this technology, the Gund format or whatever, the technology this mech uses, this Gundam uses, allows for no feedback to the user. The user doesn't get damaged in the process. That's the assumption, that's the goal, I think. That's why they are trying to speed up the research and development to prove that you can use the Gund technology without endangering the user. So don't shut down the project, simply continue in a different way, continue using our research. Create a whole new version of this technology that is safe to use. And here's the kid. I'm assuming if she really is the protagonist, if she really is going to be the protagonist of our main series, I'm assuming the bunny is going to be significant. Why does she have the bunny? Is it a plushie? Is it a piece of armor? What is it? I don't know. Lfrith is still an infant, kinda, and I'm assuming by the time she grows up, Lfrith will be fully usable. Many people responsible for Lfrith. Made me think, initially, especially in this shot, that in the end, in the series proper, the daughter is going to inherit Lfrith, and all those people perhaps aged up, perhaps their children are going to be Eri's team in taking care of Lfrith. But apparently everybody besides Lfrith and her mother are dead, so that's not going to happen. The Witch from Mercury. Yeah, someone has approved the budget to purchase Gundam-type mobile suits. Ox Earth. Raised major concerns regarding bioethical issues for its pilots. Gundam took my child's life. Yeah, that's the issue. Investigation committee official warned about Gund format. Yeah, Gund format harms the user. It was meant to assist with physical dysfunctions, spaceflight osteopenia. It's an actual thing. Microgravity muscle atrophy. Actual thing. Impaired spatial ability. Again. Neuroocular syndrome. Again, those are like actual things that people who are in space for prolonged periods of time, like all the people living on the ISS, have to deal with. Like muscle atrophy. That's why on the ISS they have special gym equipment, and they have to train every day to strain their muscles to keep them working. Because when humans just walk naturally in gravity, then your muscles have to do the work. All the time, you don't notice it because it's your usual work, but even keeping an upright posture requires our muscles to work. When there's no gravity, those muscles don't have to work, and thus they atrophy. Osteopenia, the lowering of the density of bones. That's also a thing. When you're in space, your bones don't have to keep your weight, so they also atrophy. Space life associated neuroocular syndrome. Another thing, your eyeballs are losing their shape in space. They change their shape, and that's also an issue. Impaired spatial ability, the lack of gravity means your inner ear doesn't work correctly. But we found ways to alleviate that. Replacing limbs with artificial ones, replacing muscles with artificial ones. Initially, I thought the extent of it is just cybernetics, essentially, like a cybernetic arm, cybernetic leg, but apparently it goes way beyond. Although, I have to wonder, is this person here a human, or is it an android? Could be either. And you can see the red squiggly circuit things glowing underneath their translucent skin that you also see glowing when the strain of piloting a Gundam comes in. Yeah, being able to control arms, hands, limbs with mind. Gundam format was repurposed for military mobile suits. But yeah, physical damage to its pilots due to data storms then emerged as a problem. Data storms. What exactly is that? I don't know. Could be an issue of the mind simply not being able to take the brunt of controlling not just the body, but controlling so much more. But also seems to be physical. This glowing circuitry underneath their skin. Which is interesting. I don't know if it's just a purely visual effect to show us that yes, this person is suffering the damage due to a data storm or whatever, or is it an actual in-world thing that happens? Because are they growing circuitry under their skin? I don't think so. I think it would be closer to, I don't know, suffering lobotomy or a shut-in syndrome or whatever, not exactly physical. An 18-meter tall giant frame moving with non-biological mechanisms, controlled by forcibly linking it to a human body. Yeah, the burden must be immeasurable. True, because a Gundam moves using different principles. It's not stretching and relaxing muscles. It's moving servos, so there is a disconnect there. I guess that's what it's all about. Recent mobile suit build that might provide Earth with an excuse to expand its military. What issue do you want policymakers to spend time discussing? People on Earth, poverty reduction, fair trade, educational gap, taxes, employment, spacians, defense, security, free competition, infrastructure, energy, welfare. Certainly creates the divide in society, in humanity, doesn't it? And the divide is very visible from those polls. Look at the issues that the Earthians want to discuss. Poverty reduction, fair trade, educational gap, taxes, employment. Those are the issues of people who are safe and secure. Right? Once you are safe and secure in your home, you can start thinking about maybe reducing poverty of other people. Maybe issues with fair trade. Maybe there is a little bit too many monopolies. Maybe there is an educational gap. Maybe taxes are too high. Maybe my taxes aren't spent well enough. Those are the issues you start seeing. Meanwhile, Spacians, their issues are very existential. Defense, security, first and foremost, because they might feel used by the people on Earth. Perhaps defense security also, I don't know, meteor storms. Protection from debris, better systems of repairing their space stations, perhaps, right? When you are on Earth and you have a hole in the roof, well, if it rains, there's gonna be some water in your house. Unless you fix it before it rains, or put a tarp over it, and that's gonna be good enough until you can fix the roof. When there's a hole in a space station, you're kind of fucked. So defense security makes sense. Free competition. Probably in space no one can hear you scream, so the competition isn't free. The corporations are fighting each other very physically, not just through subterfuge and trying to buy out each other, but also just rolling up and destroying the base of operations of another of their competitor. Perfectly possible. Infrastructure, again, something they rely on for survival. Infrastructure as in place to live, even hydroponic farms or stuff like that. Quick, I don't know, ways of going between space stations. There was a mention of the fares of the transport ships being very high, so maybe an affordable way of doing that. Again, something you don't really have to worry all that much about on Earth, because on Earth, right, even if you are homeless, you can reliably sleep outside, live outside, and it's gonna be fine. In space, if there's no infrastructure to accommodate you, well, you can't exactly live in space, can you? Energy. They need energy to run everything. To filter the air, to make water, to run their life support systems, everything. Welfare. Again, they are probably being exploited because the power of Earth and politics and policymakers doesn't reach far into the space. Two very different sets of issues that really show the divide. Earthians have issues with very, first world problems. Meanwhile, Spatians are all about actual existential threats. Accelerate tensions. Yeah, we can't allow people in space to build their own Gundams, can we? We cannot allow them to rebel. Birthday. I just hope the council will still stay quiet. Ha ha ha. Little did you know, this is the end of Ox Earth for some reason. This is what happens when Earthians get presumptuous. I don't fully understand what they are talking about here, but I guess that's fine. As the Mobile Suit Development Council, we must make a decision so that humanity can remain in peace. We must wield the hammer of witches. Yeah, cybernetics sometimes stop working. Your gun always stops working, mommy. I'm assuming it might be because she has low-ish compatibility or something with it. Maybe, I don't know. Perhaps the same reason why she can't sync up with Lfrith. I don't know. And yeah, apparently she was saved thanks to Dr. Cardo, who gave her all the necessary cybernetics. Dr. Cardo herself uses cybernetics heavily. Call from job, and at this moment, this is the moment where I knew shit's going to shit. This is the moment. When you have a birthday party and one of the parents has to take an urgent call, you know things going to shit. You know we're headed for some depression. that's a dead giveaway. It's not even the deadline, but of course they're speeding it up because the dude wants power. Fólkvangr to transport ship Begavent. Yeah, the transport ship is coming. The transport ship. That will kill them all. And the Spatians are monopolizing it unreasonably. Are they not Spatians? Are they Earthlings just living in space? I'm getting confused right now. I'm much confused. Are the people of the Earth the good guys? Or what's going on? I had the assumption that the people on the Earth are like the, you know, the haughty nobility almost, that they can afford to live on Earth and the rest of humanity has to live somewhere in space colonies because there's no place for them on Earth or something along those lines, but maybe not? Maybe it's the other way around? But Eri is no longer here. Curious that she can just willy-nilly go around the space station. There's no, like, I don't know, pin pad lock or thumbprint lock or something on the door. She can just come in here just like that. Weird. This one is special. Of course she is. In order for you, your daddy, and your mommy to live in space, you need to have an adaptable body. And another weapon like this. Lfrith is the future of Gund that we're aiming for. Yeah, the Gund that doesn't damage the wielder. She's a new door that will open up new possibilities for humanity. Okay, interesting. And yeah, she can connect with the Gundam without much issue. She really is the daughter of her mother, isn't she? Even more so because her mother has issues. The kid doesn't. Can you go back yourself, Eri? Thankfully, she didn't go anywhere. She stayed and talked to the Gundam, and that's why she was able to stay alive. This ship, it looks like an untransformed Gundam to me, but I don't know, I'm not sure. Are there transforming ships in this universe? Probably, it would make sense, but you kind of usually associate mecha with some sort of transformation. Maybe not Gundam, though. I can't really say because, as I mentioned, I know nothing about Gundam. Deployment of Ulysses is complete. Raided along with the headquarters according to the plan. Don't we need the council's approval? Yeah, I'm gonna take it all. Take the responsibility. Well, you are not going to take responsibility. Or rather, you are going to take the responsibility, and that responsibility will be a slap on the wrist. Because that's how it is for politicians. That's how it is for rich people. That's how it is for the elite. Right? They can go speeding up on a road, going 3 times over the speed limit, and they're just going to pay a fine. No biggie. Sorry. A company can engage in anti-competitive behaviors, and they're going to be slapped with a fine that they're going to make back in 5 minutes of operating. Fines and fines are really just a punishment for the poor. Same goes for many other types of punishments, right? When you're the elite, when you're a politician, chances are you're not gonna end up in jail no matter what you do. Especially since he is becoming like a leader of Cathedral, or whatever you want to call it. Freeze all development of Gundam-type mobile suits. We will forcibly seize Ox Earth, the company that developed them. So is it the Earthlings that are the good guys? Ah. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. Actually, I might have an idea. Give me a second. No. I thought it was something important, but thankfully not. Right. I snoozed it, though, so it's gonna call again. And to maintain order and ethics in the development of mobile suits, we are going to forgo ethics. Well, he doesn't know, technically. It's the leader of the cathedra, Delling Rembrandt. And everybody's dying. Curious and kind of ironic that they are using Gundams to stop the existence of Gundams, isn't it? Yeah, I really thought they are going to live and they're going to become Eddie's crew in the future, but apparently not. Apparently everybody's going to die. Gund Arm. There's so many terms with Gund. Gund technology, Gund focus or whatever. Gund Arm, Gund Am. Oh man. Maybe this series isn't as standalone as I thought it is. Gund format? Permit? I'm assuming if I knew the franchise I would know what those terms are, but alas. Some cool combat. And those Gundam look like they are actually 2D. Or they are CG and just have an amazing shader. That's a possibility, for sure. But the lowering of the level of detail as they get further away makes me believe they might be actually drawn. Unfamiliar swarm weapons. I'm assuming modified, mass-produced Gundam that were given some special weaponry. Gundam-type mobile suit. Gundam, Gundarm. Weapons should only exist to kill people on the other side of the barrel, not to kill the wielder. I mean, it kinda makes sense, but at the same time, by going forth with this reasoning, they stopped the development of a technology that would perhaps make it not an issue in the future. Very short-sighted, or perhaps not. Perhaps that was the goal. Perhaps the goal is to not have the Gundams, not develop any new Gundams, to just have the army of the Spacers, possess the Gundams they already have, but to never create any new ones, so that the Earth cannot protect itself. Or something. And the punishment for taking a life should be imposed upon us by humans and not machines. People must kill or be killed by people. Very human-centric. I wanted to say humanitarian, but it's not necessarily humanitarian, but very human supremacist. Right? The purity of humans. Humans should only be killed by other humans. A machine should never be involved in between. It would be best if we could just fight barehanded, if we could ban any sort of weapons and fight our wars barehanded. That would be best. Like this kind of a belief. Gund format link suppressed. Okay, apparently this Gundam is special because it can suppress the link using those two yo-yos. Yeah. I don't know if I sneezed it. I don't know if I snoozed it again or turned it off. God damn it. Okay, I'm gonna pause it again and turn it off. That would be for the best, I think. Okay, there should be no distractions anymore. At this moment, he knew he fucked up. I wonder if he's gonna be helping us in the series proper, or is he gonna die eventually, or what's gonna happen to him. But yeah, he now realized the consequences of giving this military dude power. She's going to die. Humanity was born in the cradle of Earth. Our bodies are far too fragile for us to venture into space. Nothing incorrect about that statement. We need the Gundam to truly go out to space. I like the prevalence of cybernetics in this universe. Everywhere. Hands, arms, heads, it's everywhere. Everybody is using cybernetics for any and all purpose. Love it. Just an excuse for technology that requires sacrificial victims, but that's the other side of it. Human experimentation. To a degree, at least. But that's another side of the coin. In the future, the gun will save countless people. Yeah. The gun will save people, will save humanity. When humanity has to go to space, has no choice. The sun will eventually become a supermassive star. Well, not supermassive. I think the sun is going to go... It's not going to go supernova. It's not big enough. I think our sun is going to go red giant, and then it's going to turn into a brown dwarf. In the process, it's going to engulf everything, every planet, up to Jupiter. I think something around that. That's why people are creating plans of like creating colonies on Titan, because it would be far enough. So humanity will essentially have to leave Earth one way or another, and they will have to live in space. And Gund technology is going to help save that future. If there's no technology that will allow people to live in space, humanity is going to die. Simple as. Really, it's going to go extinct. That's why it's very important, space travel and research of space travel, while we still have the time. It's kind of like with ants and anthills. When you destroy an anthill, like the Earth, there is another anthill nearby in the same forest, a different planet with colonized by humans. If you destroy the forest, if the forest burns down our solar system, there are still other forests with anthills in them, other solar systems. Even when all of the country with all of those forests gets nuked, like our galaxy, in some unlikely event, there are other countries with other forests, with other anthills, other galaxies with other solar systems, with other planets inhabited by humanity. Expansion is very important for the preservation of the humankind. Honestly, genuinely, that's one of my core beliefs, you could say. I can't do anything to like speed it up or help progress it, but I do believe that humanity needs to become extraterrestrial ASAP. Well, I mean, we still have the time until the sun engulfs our planet, but there can come an asteroid, and well, you can't exactly do anything about that. The future that Gund will save. Yeah, thankfully the kid is alive, and the mother is also alive. That's going to be interesting. I wonder if she's gonna be a character, or are we going to continue from when she passed away of natural causes, or maybe she was taken prisoner, or maybe she was assassinated and it's just the daughter. I don't know. And yeah, layer 33, Erikt Samaya. And the realization hits that it's her daughter that's going to be the pilot, essentially. Also, I love how their eyebrows are hereditary. Little, like, tiny, thick little Hime eyebrows. I love them. Unregistered permit identification code. Is Permit like an agency that registers Gundams or something like that? It's like a license plate or something? I don't know. Blue, not red. And she doesn't seem to mind, it doesn't hurt her. She doesn't even notice that. So this Gundam really is special. And it really is flexible, just as Granny said. I think those are CG. But they do look good. Except some of the anti-aliasing, or rather, aliasing on the edges. They really should have applied some anti-aliasing to it, but I'm willing to overlook it because they move fast. So you don't really see that. It really is flexible, this Gundam. It can use those flying bits to form a lance, to form a shield, to just be used as individual guns floating around. That's cool. And I love how she's taking it as a counting exercise, as a game. 1, 2, 3. And the Gundam just does the action. That's also interesting. I initially was under the impression that the Gundams work by essentially becoming a second body, where you are connected with it, your mind is linked to it, so if you think of raising your left hand, your body remains still, but the Gundam raises the left hand. That's how it works. But apparently you can just touch on the screen and the Gundam is going to perform the action by itself. Interesting. I had no clue that's how it's gonna work. And yeah, she just witnessed her daughter kill at least 3 people. It's like candles on a cake. The absurdity of this situation and the ambivalence of it. I almost wanted to say gap moe of this situation, but kinda. She unknowingly, she thought it was a game, and as a reward for pointing at those 3 dots and counting them properly, she gets little fireworks, but it was people fucking dying. Enemies. And if she didn't do that, they both would die. Her and her mother. But still, interesting. And yeah, apparently those bowls can stop Gundam synchronization. I think the cockpit is also CG. But it does look good. I like how she detached her arm and just plugged directly into the Gundam instead of piloting it. That's cool. That's really cool. Live the both of you. Permit score 4. 4 score. And of course, playing with our feelings. Birthday. Singing happy birthday. And the people on this ship, they are afraid. They don't know what to think. We thought we're fighting for a good cause. But here is father and the daughter singing happy birthday, and we are going to kill the father. And we killed everybody else, and we were about to kill the daughter as well. Are we the baddies? That's a little bit of an are we the baddies situation, isn't it? This is a situation that makes you leave service and open a bakery. But alas, he died before he managed to do anything about this this purple Gundam. Happy birthday to you. And thus the station exploded. And our cathedra shall deny all Gundams. To be continued in the main story, the witch from Mercury. I'm assuming Eri, or Eri, or whatever the name of the kid is the titular witch of Mercury. Cool. Hell yeah, I'm down. That was a cool episode. I'm down for seeing more. Absolutely. Some cool animation, cool art. I didn't at one from a certain point on when they started dying, I kinda disabled my attachment to characters because initially I started getting attached to them, but now I see that the main series is going to continue probably after a time skip when Eri is already an adult or perhaps a young adult, maybe a teenager. Maybe entering some Gundam pilot school or something. I don't know. Uh, hmm. A little. How should I say it best? Certainly subverted many of my expectations. Right? My initial expectation was, of course, that why do you use Gundams? Why do you use a huge combat mecha? Well, to fight an enemy of humanity, of course. Some aliens, some kaiju, or whatever. But no, it's humans fighting humans. The future isn't so great as to have united all of the humanity. They still wage wars. It's a fairly bleak outlook, isn't it? Very often, you see in mecha shows, and not just mecha, but also in shows that use, I don't know, uh, mecha musume kind, like Strike Witches or um, other shows. I forgot the name of this particular one, but essentially turning young girls and sometimes even boys, very rarely, but it sometimes happens, into combatants against some existential threat to humanity. And of course, the entirety of humanity gets united against this big threat. The world in Gundam doesn't seem to be so rosy. The weapons are created not for the sake of helping humanity fight aliens, they are created for the sake of humans killing humans. There's a big divide. Perhaps not on the level of countries anymore, but on the level of planets. People from Mercury might despise people from Earth, or vice versa. People from space have different needs than people of Earth, and they might despise each other because people on Earth have very easy lives and people in space don't. Humans versus humans, that's interesting to me. Very much so. The amount of combat was also a little bit less than I thought. It was a lot of drama in the show. I always thought of Gundams as those very, very action oriented and with some funny moments, some comedy, some comic relief, maybe some drama, sure, but not drama not being the brunt of it. But it turns out it's mostly drama with some action sprinkled here and there to keep the attention of the viewer. I hope they're not gonna throw us like super huge amounts of drama in the series proper, that it was just this episode to show us the tragic backstory that Eri has. But I don't know. I don't know. I genuinely don't know where they're going with it. Because the cathedral wants to essentially get rid of all Gundams, but the series is called Gundam, so there have to be Gundams. Eri is a pilot of a Gundam, so something's gonna go awry in the plans. Perhaps she's going to be a part of a rebellion of some sort. A great schism between the Spacers and the Earthlings. One side wants to destroy all Gundams and the other wants to keep them, and Eri is being trained to be a soldier to fight in the war between the Earthlings and the Spacers. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. I've no clue. I've genuinely no clue after this prologue. I don't know where it's gonna go. Besides Eri probably being the main character. That's all I can glean from what we've seen. Yeah, I think that ought to do it. Actually, I'm just gonna take a note really quick about Gundam. Gundam. Eri or Eri? Is it Eri or is it Eri? I don't know. I'm gonna note down Eri. We all know who she is. Is the MC. I mean, that's probably very obvious thing, but I'd rather note down the theory and have it than not note it down and then forget I had one. I think that's gonna be it. So you guys, you tell me in the comments down below what did you think of this prologue, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that. If there's some stuff about Gundam that you would want me to know, that's necessary perhaps for better enjoyment. Those all odd terms, Gundam versus Gundarm versus Gund versus the P something thing that has levels and numbers and it's all weird. If you want to maybe explain it to me, then please do. Unless it's talked about in the first episode, then don't, because I am gonna watch the first episode and consequent ones, of course. Subconsequent? Consecutive is gonna be the better word here. I'm gonna watch them all. So no spoilers from episode 1, please. You can tell me how we enjoyed it, sure, but please do not spoil the story itself. If you want to talk spoilers or you want to talk about Gundam, Discord here also in the description. You can use spoiler tags and talk about the future seasons, future episodes, or you can just talk about Gundam or about current season, current episodes. That's also a possibility. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Gundam but also Madoka, Magica, Symphogear, and other shows that are going to be coming in the near future. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or Throne, links in the description down below. For $10 a month you get early access to Madoka, to Symphogear, and to other non-seasonals coming in the future, and for just a singular dollar a month you get a role on the Discord, and you also get a place in the credits. So that might be something you want to look into, and there are of course other tiers as well, so peruse to your heart's content. On Throne you can pitch indirectly towards my purchase of better lighting, proper camera, because I'm using a phone, if you didn't get that yet. I'm using a phone instead of a camera, so you might want to pitch in towards that. What else? If you don't want to spend any money whatsoever but still want to support the channel, sharing my content, spreading the word is a great way to do that. If you have some friends interested in Gundam who also like reactions and want to maybe see a reaction to The Witch of Mercury, recommend my channel, and that's gonna help my channel grow organically a lot, and organic growth is the best kind of growth. So, with all of that out of the way, I think we can end it here. So that's gonna be it from me for today, and as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the credits I mentioned. You can be one of those people if only such is your desire.